This is a new form of warfare armaments, but it's happening in a way that actually quite a lot of the time it's unregulated. When it comes to Pakistan, the most interesting point in all of this is this, that it doesn't seem, certainly there's growing evidence coming to light based upon what the UN has found, that the government of Pakistan has not given permission to the United States of America to actually carry out these attacks. And therefore there is now today a huge question mark over the legal basis and the legality under which the United States of America has actually been undertaking these drone strike attacks that have led to many deaths, including one congressman who has come out and said that 4,700 people have been killed to date.
Do you think the US is wrong to pursue the fight against terrorism in Waziristan by using drones?
Well, I wish it was quite as simple as that, because the US has got to point out to the international community exactly the legal basis on which it relies when it's carrying out these forms of attack. It is a very questionable legal concept to be saying that we are at war with anybody and everybody wherever in the world or elsewhere that they may be. That simply doesn't hang on a legal basis, and that's where the weakness is for the United States of America.
Now, the UK has drones as well. Are you concerned about their use?
Well, the development of drone technology in itself is something that is happening, and indeed it ought to be encouraged. What we need to ensure is that we have a proper legal framework in place so that when they are being used, they are used within that particular framework. At the moment, we have a situation where there is a huge grey area which is currently being abused, and indeed when it comes to Pakistan, if it is the case, and it will be very interesting today at this hearing to see whether the ambassador of Pakistan is willing to be the first official to come out publicly and say that the government of Pakistan has not given its permission to the United States of America to use these drones, and in fact that they have been protesting to the US. If that happens today, it will be the first time that an official from Pakistan has said this, and then there is an immediate question: on what legal basis is the US carrying out these attacks? Pakistan is, after all, a sovereign nation, and if they are not giving their consent, what is the basis on which the US is doing this?
Have you had any reaction from the US about this?
Well, I invited the ambassador of the United States, Mr. Gutman, the ambassador of the US to the European Union, to come along to the hearing today. He sent back a very straightforward reply that he will not be present today, and I don't believe there will be anybody else representing the American position either. I think it's a very sad state of affairs that a country with the great history that the United States has, particularly when it comes to upholding international law, when it comes to human rights issues, that they today find themselves in a situation where they cannot even enter a room in the European Parliament in order to answer questions on their own government's policy.
Does it surprise you that it's the Obama government that is responsible for this? If it was the Bush administration, we wouldn't be surprised, but it's a Democratic president that has authorized this.
Well, we still have the existence of Guantanamo Bay, despite the fact it being an election pledge by Mr. Obama for his first election, and of course we've seen a huge increase in the use of drones, which in itself actually isn't an issue, providing it is being done within a proper legal framework. The problems arise when you are not working within the legal framework, so you may be carrying out a whole number of drone attacks, but if they're within the legal framework, that's fine. But if you're only carrying out 3 or 4, none of which are within the legal framework, then I'm afraid there's a huge problem.
We're on the run-up to a government election in Pakistan. What's the view over there? Are the various sides got different views?
Well, actually, on this, I'm finding, and I chair the European Parliament Friends of Pakistan group, from all of the interaction that I am having both with the political parties and political figures and also with general members of the public, There is absolute unanimity on one thing, and that is that the use of drones needs to stop. Drone attacks have got to stop. That's a message that's coming from across the board. The second thing that we need to really concentrate our minds on is this, that how effective is it in terms of a counter-terrorism strategy? What we are finding is that there is a large number of genuinely innocent people who are paying with their lives and indeed being injured seriously by these drone attacks. How effective is that if our aim is to counter terrorism?
The US is using this technology. It's almost a standoff weapon. There's no risk to the pilot flying it. There's no risk to the US at all by using them, it would appear. What can the EU do? I mean, is it not a fact that the EU is actually impotent on this matter?
What we can do is what I have done today, and that is to start to raise a voice at an international community level. Because so far we have had some movement within the United Nations, but there has been nothing said elsewhere. It is absolutely imperative that the international community starts to raise its voice. And if it means that the first step has got to be taken by the European Parliament, then so be it. Today we'll take that first step.
Sergeant Karim, thank you very much.
Thank you.